The Russian top diplomat Sergei Lavrov on the mission to win hearts of the African continent. The Kremlin wants to stay closer to its allies in Africa after it's been pummeled by the West with sanctions for invading Ukraine. Lavrov's first stop was in Nairobi, where he met with Kenyan President William Ruto, where they discussed a number of issues including the grain deal.
The Black Sea Initiative regarding exporting Ukrainian products, grain and other from Ukrainian ports. We have commented on it repeatedly. Out of, I think, 30 million tons that have been exported, less than 3% went to the poorest countries.
Lavrov's next stop is Burundi and the East African countries currently chairing the East African Community's regional bloc. The Russian foreign minister is accused the West of supporting genocide in Ukraine through its backing of President Volodymyr Zelensky's peace plan. This is what Ukrainian Foreign Affairs Minister had to say when he was in Africa.
Bread prices in Africa, in Asia and in South Africa depend on a very simple fact: how much grain can be exported from Ukraine per year. And if Russia did not invade, we would not have this problem. Would not have had this problem, but we have it now. This is why we come here and we say, guys, we fight a war, we will win. We are certain about that. But in the meantime, we want to revive our relations.
The Russian foreign minister is headed to the BRICS Foreign Ministers meeting in Cape Town, South Africa. Lavrov is not facing a warrant of arrest. The issue of the International Criminal Court is thorny for the African continent. Former President Thabo Mbeki says Africa must strengthen internal institutions that are meant to hold leaders accountable.
What is critically important, Sophie, for the continent is that the continent must establish this African Court of Justice, which has been agreed in principle, and the protocol has been agreed. But the countries are very slow in terms of ratifying the content so that then the court can be set up. That's what needs to happen. We need to ensure that Africa does this, so that we're not then threatened by the ICC. The people who commit these offenses detailed in the Rome Statute can then appear before the African Court of Justice. So we don't have to go to the ICC.
The South African government has also issued a notice in the Government Gazette on diplomatic immunities and privileges for the upcoming BRICS Foreign Affairs Ministers gathering, as well as the BRICS Summit in August.
This is a standard conferment of immunities which government does for all international conferences and summits held in South Africa, irrespective of the level of participation. The immunities are for the conference and not for specific individuals. They are meant to protect the conference and its attendees from the jurisdiction of the host country for the duration of the conference. These immunities do not override any warrant that may have been issued by any international tribunal against any attendee of the conference.
Meanwhile, the war between Russia and Ukraine has intensified, and there are fears that this may hinder the peace mission led by 6 African heads of state. Khumalo, SABC News, Johannesburg.